Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Wednesday, May 10th. We have our next round of showers and thunderstorms coming through the area that will last into tonight. The heavier precipitation generally is along and east of I-15 and actually may end up much closer to the Wyoming border. We do have a little bit of uncertainty on the aerial coverage of our showers and thunderstorms with that band coming through. We still have showers and thunderstorms, not much precipitation on a daily basis coming up as we head into the weekend and into next week, but the warm-up will begin, and we're going to trade back to where before this stretch of rainy and cool weather, we had a lot of snow melt just because of the heat. We went back to the snow melt, slowing down a little bit, but the rain adding to that. We're going back the other direction now with snow melt ramping up a little bit with the warm temperatures coming our direction. Our weather risk outlook, we continue to highlight our higher elevations, especially the southeast highlands up towards the Wood River Valley and also up into the Sawtooths as well, for a little bit more in terms of potential flooding across the area. And we already have some flooding ongoing in some of these areas. We actually may be able to trim some of these impacts back and be more looking at some pockets of the sheet flooding, the aerial flooding versus the river and the stream flooding. That's something we'll be looking at over the next couple of days now that we're headed back into a stretch of warm weather. But, that daily chance of showers and thunderstorms is there. It looks like Friday might be the day we have the least amount of thunderstorm activity across the area, at least in a general trend across portions of central and eastern Idaho. For today, though, we watch a little bit of moisture this morning working northward. Nothing more than a very quick shower or sprinkle with that, but you'll notice going into the morning hours, that band starts to expand to the north a little bit and tries to swing back to the west. Going into the afternoon, and you'll notice generally that area of precipitation, that area of showers and thunderstorms, doesn't get too much further west than I-15 as we go into the afternoon hours. But there's still some uncertainty there. Some of the models still keep this back across the center part of the Snake Plain back towards the Arco Desert. Some push it almost all the way to the Wyoming border during the afternoon. So the general idea is we will be looking at showers and thunderstorms. The best chance will be along and east of I-15 over into western Wyoming and southwest Montana. Other showers are still possible back to the west, even over the central mountains. It's all really depending on where this band sets up this afternoon. But as we go into this evening, that band will organize a little bit and start shifting definitely into portions of south central Montana and western Wyoming. Might be a few lingering light showers over the Snake Plain late this evening. That goes away, but you'll notice the moisture doesn't really move out of portions of Montana and western Wyoming. That's as that low swings through and starts to take shape to our west. We're going to start to see the low a little bit of that energy from that low swinging back through our area and eventually developing another low that cuts back to the west across the Great Basin as we head into the weekend. But you'll notice through the day tomorrow, we start to see some showers and a few thunderstorms redeveloping and the flows from the northwest. Most of this will be in the higher elevations, but some of that will trek southeastward over the Snake Plain before quickly dying out as we lose the sunshine and heating tomorrow afternoon and evening as well. So looking at the forecast for today, you'll see the main area of precipitation, like we said, along and east of I-15. We're looking at about 1/10 to about 3/10 of an inch in most of that area. That's for this particular storm. It may not be widespread coverage, but just simply because we have showers versus a widespread band precipitation developing with this particular wave coming through. And taking a look at some of the probability forecasts, we kind of set the threshold about 1/10 to about 3/10 of an inch. But as we go through the afternoon, we've set the probability forecast. What is the potential of seeing over 3/10 of an inch? You'll notice in some areas from right around Preston up through Soda, Chesterfield, on up towards Driggs, and eventually over towards Yellowstone and the Tetons through late this afternoon, this evening. Some of these probabilities of seeing over 3/10 of an inch are hitting 20 to 40%, and especially higher once you get into western Wyoming this evening. There's even potential there, a non-zero chance once you get over into northwest Wyoming, seeing over half an inch of precipitation falling with that. But you'll notice by the time we get to 6 a.m. tomorrow, that has pretty much ended and shifted into Wyoming as well. So heading back to the rest of the forecast for temperature-wise today, we're not going to be too far off from where we were yesterday. In some areas, even though we've got a little more cloud cover today, we've got a little bit of surge of warm air, especially over the Snake Plain, where temperatures will be back into the mid-60s in many locations, 40s and 50s up in the high country. Up towards the Chalice Valley, we're looking at mid-60s and also mid-60s up towards Salmon. With that moisture coming back around tomorrow, not much expected, just a few hundreds here and there, and that is pretty much the forecast for tomorrow, and any showers, at least at this point, and storms we get as we head over the next few days. Each day, that amount will be on the light side. Temperatures tomorrow, we'll start to see a few low 70s creeping back into the forecast, especially up towards Salmon and Chalice, also into the Treasure and Magic Valleys. Stanley Basin hitting right around 60 tomorrow afternoon, still in the 50s across the southeast corner. We continue to warm up on Friday, especially in the lower elevations, a lot more low to mid-70s showing up. Finally trying to hit into the 60s across the southeast corner, also up towards Island Park. And that trend continues into the weekend. We might see some areas pushing 80 once you get over towards Shoshone and Twin Falls, and certainly into the Treasure Valley by Sunday. So looking at some of our river and stream levels, we continue with the Blackfoot River around the reservoir near Henry staying in minor flood stage, and it looks like it's going to be there for the next few days. The Bear River along the Idaho-Wyoming border, that will stay in minor flood stage into the weekend and likely beyond into early next week, just simply because of the warmer temperatures. There's a lot of snow in that part of the state and into adjacent portions of Wyoming and Utah to melt. Will stay in action stage, at least on the Bear River. Once you get down to the Idaho-Utah border, that particular stretch of river looks like will stay in action stage. Heading up into areas a little bit further north, McCammon staying right around action stage. The Marsh Creek around McCammon there's still quite a bit of noticeable flooding in the last few days, especially once you get north and west of I-15. The Portneuf River at Tyhee staying right around action stage at this point and should continue to be there. And the same with Topaz, maybe pushing into the low end of minor stage as we head into next week. Looking at some of our other river gauges, the Portneuf at Pocatello, we're going to stay at moderate flood stage for now, but the trend is actually going downward over the next few days. We're not expecting to actually go up at this point. So if anything, the forecast is on the low end of the probabilistic forecast. So certainly looking at least eventually trying to head back towards that break between moderate and minor flood stage for the Portneuf at the Pocatello gauge anyway. For the Big River, Wood River at Haley, we will continue to stay in action stage. There's a 82% chance of going to moderate, but honestly, I think most of the forecasts over the next 5 to 10 days will keep that in the minor flood stage range. It wouldn't be until later on next week that we might get to moderate flood stage. But again, count on at least action and minor flood stage for the Big River, Wood River at Haley. And at Ketchum, the same thing. We should stay at action stage. There's a low chance of going into minor flood stage there, but at least for the next 5 to 10 days, we should stay at or below action stage with that particular stretch of the river as well. And finally, looking at the Henry's Fork up at Rexburg, we've seen this forecast waver a little bit over the past week simply because what kind of rain will it get? How warm will it get? It looks like we finally get to action stage by the middle part of next week, early to middle part of next week. There's about a 50 to 60% chance of going into minor beyond that. But for now, it looks like we'll eventually try to get to action stage along the Henry's Fork up near Rexburg with that particular river forecast. So once again, showers and thunderstorms return today. Most of this will be east of I-15. Light showers continuing over the next few days, but we're trading the cooler temperatures back to some warmer temperatures and going back above average as we head into the weekend. Have a great day, and do stay safe out there, everyone.